The prisoner, the war between humans and the Zarians had been going on for years. Blood, fire, and death filled every planet. No one remembered who started it. No one cared anymore. It was kill or be killed. She was a Zarian, a proud warrior of her kind. Her name was Alira. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes glowing violet. Her claws had ended many human lives. She had been trained since childhood to hate them, to destroy them, to never trust them. But now, she was the prisoner. Her arms were tied, her legs chained. She sat in a cold metal cell deep inside a human base on a desert planet. The air was dry. Her wounds were still fresh. Her pride hurt more than her body. She waited for pain. She waited for the human to come. She expected torture. She expected anger. That's what her people told her. Humans are monsters. They break you. They enjoy your screams. She prepared to spit in his face, bite his hand, curse his name. But when the door opened, she froze. It was just one human. A male, tall, strong. His skin was dark, his face calm. He didn't hold a weapon. Just a tray of food and a bottle of water. He stepped inside the cell without fear. He placed the tray near her, then stepped back. Alira narrowed her eyes. She didn't speak, just watched. Like a wild animal ready to strike, he looked at her, not with hate, but with something strange. Curiosity. She hissed, "Kill me already." He didn't reply. He didn't even blink. "I said kill me," she growled louder. "That's what your kind does, right?" Still, no answer. He just took a small step forward, then pointed at the food. "It's not poisoned," he said finally. His voice was low, calm. "You need strength." She laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You think I'll eat your lies?" He shrugged. "Suit yourself." He turned to leave, but then paused at the door. Without turning back, he said, "My name is Jace." Then he left. Alira stared at the door for a long time. She didn't touch the food. She didn't sleep. The next day, he came again. Same time, same tray. This time, he brought bandages too. She glared at him. "Planning to heal me before you break me?" "No," he said softly. "I don't want to break anything." He knelt beside her. She tried to kick him, but the chains were too short. Her leg missed his face by inches. He didn't flinch. He just looked into her eyes and said, "You have a name?" "Go to hell," she spat. He nodded. "I'll call you Silver then." She wanted to scream, to hit, to bite, but something inside her paused. Why wasn't he afraid? Why wasn't he angry? Why wasn't he cruel? Humans were supposed to be cruel. 3 days passed. Each day Jace came. He cleaned her wounds, gave her food, sat in silence. Sometimes he spoke about the sky, the stars, the flowers on his home planet. She listened without meaning to. His voice was strange, soft but heavy, like it carried pain. On the 4th day, she spoke. "Alira." He looked at her, confused. "My name," she said. "It's Alira." He smiled, just a little. "Nice to meet you, Alira." No human had ever said her name like that, gently, like it mattered. That night, she dreamed of home. On the 5th day, she asked, "Why are you doing this?" He sat down across from her, thought for a long moment. "Because I don't believe everything they tell us," he said. "I saw you fight. You were brave. You didn't run. That's not a monster, that's a soldier." "No," she whispered. "I was raised to be a killer." "And now?" he asked. She didn't answer. She looked at her hands, at the bandages he wrapped, at the food he brought, at the soft warmth slowly growing inside her chest. Fear, confusion, curiosity, maybe something else. Then she looked at him again. "Next time," she said, "if you come closer, I might kill you." Jace stood, walked to the door, and smiled faintly. "I believe you." Then he was gone, and Alira was left alone, but something had changed. This wasn't just a cell anymore. This wasn't just war anymore. This was something else. Something dangerous, Something. Human. Asterisk. She slammed the food tray. Across the floor, again metal echoed loudly in the small cold cell. The human stood outside the door, watching silently. His arms were crossed, and his eyes steady. He didn't speak, he didn't move. Illyra growled in anger. Why did he keep coming? Why? Didn't he punish her? She threw words like weapons. You are weak, you are a coward, you are a fool. But he never responded with hate, only silence. On the fifth day he entered without the tray, just a cup of warm water in his hand. She sat in the corner, arms around her knees, breathing hard, eyes burning. He crouched beside her and placed the cup near her foot. I won't eat, she hissed again. This isn't food, he said. It's just water. Her throat was dry, her pride was louder. She kicked the cup and turned her back. He didn't flinch, he didn't leave. Instead, he sat down beside the wall. Not close, not far, just enough to share the silence. Illyra closed her eyes, but she could feel him there, like a storm waiting, but not to destroy. After many long minutes he spoke softly. I used to believe all Zarians were evil. She opened one eye, her expression sharp. And now? She asked. I'm not sure anymore, he replied. Maybe you're different, she scoffed. Because I haven't ripped your throat out. He smiled gently. Something like that. For the first time she didn't feel like yelling. The next day, he brought bandages again. She didn't stop him when he touched her arm. She didn't like it, but she didn't hate it either. His hands were careful, not like a guard, more like a healer. You don't talk much, she said as he wrapped her wrist. I listen, he answered. To what? To you. She stared at him, silent, unblinking. Why was he doing this? What did he want? She had seen humans shoot her kind without a blink. She had seen cities burn, children cry, families scream. And yet this one sat here, washing her wounds, saying nothing. Are you broken? She asked. No, he said. I'm tired. Tired. Of what? Hate. The word hung between them like smoke that night. She couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, thinking about the way his fingers trembled slightly when he touched her, about how he looked at her, not like a monster, but like something real, something living. The next morning, she was waiting when he arrived. Still tied, still bruised, but watching. He set down food again. She didn't touch it. Do humans eat their own lies? She asked. He raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? You feed me, heal me, speak soft, but you will still put a bullet in me when your orders change. He leaned back slowly. No, if they order me to kill you, I won't do it. Then they'll kill you. Maybe. She looked at him hard. For once he looked back without blinking. You are a strange man. Jace, she said. You are a strange woman. Illyra, he replied. For the first time she laughed, only a little, but real. He looked surprised, then smiled wide and honest. The next day, she spoke first. What do humans dream of? He sat down slowly, took a long breath. Peace, stars, family. Sometimes flying. Zarians dream of storms, she said. And fire. Why fire? Because we believe fire is strength. Jace nodded. Maybe it is, but sometimes it just burns everything down. Illyra was quiet for a while, then asked, what if I had killed you when I was free? I was ready, but not afraid. No, not afraid. Why? Because I saw your eyes when they tied. You weren't scared either. You were proud, but not cruel. She looked away. That strange warmth in her chest again. Not fear, not anger, something new, something dangerous. Next time he brought food, she ate. I didn't say a word, just sat quietly as she chewed that night. She sat close to the cell bars. He leaned on the other side. No chains, no fighting, just two people, breathing in the same silence. And for the first time since the war began, Illyra felt something crack, not her bones, not her pride, something softer and far more dangerous. She was screaming when he entered the room. Her voice was sharp like a broken blade. Her body twisted under the thin blanket, her hands pulled against invisible chains, eyes closed, face soaked with sweat. She was trapped inside a nightmare. Jace rushed to her side. No weapons, no armor, just concern written on his tired face. Illyra woke as his hand touched her shoulder. She grabbed his wrist in a flash. sharp claws brushing his skin, one breath away from drawing blood, but she stopped, just stared at him, chest rising fast, eyes wide with something unfamiliar. He didn't move, didn't pull back, just let her hold his wrist. Waiting, breathing, she let go slowly, looked away. It was a dream, she whispered. What did you see? He asked. Fire, my home, my brother. Her voice cracked as she spoke, the words heavy with pain, with memory. She sat up and buried her face in her hands. He didn't speak, he just sat near the bars, close, but not close enough to make her feel trapped. Time passed heavy and slow. She looked up, her voice quiet but steady. Why do you keep coming back? Jace leaned against the wall, eyes soft. I don't know, maybe because you're not like the others. She laughed once, but it was dry and bitter. I killed your people. I would kill you if I had the chance. I was born to destroy you. But you didn't, he said. Not yet. He looked at her hands, shaking not from rage, but from something else. Do you hate me? She asked suddenly. He thought for a moment, then shook his head. No, I don't think I do. I think I'm trying to understand you. No one understands me, not even my own kind. I was always different, too quiet, too curious. I asked too many questions. I like questions, Jay said. She looked at him again, really looked, the lines on his face, the way his eyes didn't match his words, so kind, but hiding something deeper. You've lost someone, she said. He nodded. My sister, she was a medic. She tried to help a Zarian child during a raid. She was shot from behind. Alira said nothing. Pain met pain in silence. They sat in the cell as if the war was far away, as if the galaxy had paused. The next day, Jace brought her something different. Not food, not water, but a small square, a folded paper, a drawing. She opened it, her fingers slow and careful. It showed stars, a mountain, and a woman standing at the edge, alone but proud. Who is she? Alira asked. You, how I see you. She looked at the drawing for a long time. Her lips moved, but no words came. She folded it, placed it beside her like a sacred thing. Do you dream of me? She asked. Jace didn't answer right away. Sometimes not always clear, but I see your eyes. They follow me even when I sleep. She turned her head away, afraid he might see the storm building inside her that night. The nightmare didn't return. Instead, she saw light, a memory, or maybe a future, a path, and someone walking beside her. When she woke, she was already waiting at the bars, looking at the door. When it opened, she smiled just a little. Good morning, Jace, she said. He blinked, then smiled back. The smile stayed, hung in the space between them like a bridge made of fire and hope. She reached through the bars, touched his hand. No chains this time. No force, just fingers meeting fingers, and in that touch was something not spoken, not yet love, not yet peace, but something alive, and it was more dangerous than war, more powerful than fear. It was the beginning of something. Neither of them had words for something strange, something human, something worth everything. Asterisk. The wind outside howled like a dying machine. Sand blew through the cracks of the base walls. The desert beyond stretched endless and cruel. Inside the cell, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Alira paced slowly, chains still on her ankles, but her mind moved faster than ever. Something was wrong. She felt it, a shift in the air, a whisper in the silence. East was Leahy. He had never been late before, not even once. She sat down, but her claws tapped against the floor. Tap, tap, tap. Then the door opened fast. He entered without food, without water, without his usual calm. His face was tight, his eyes sharp. She stood quickly. What is it? She asked. Tell me. He looked around the cell, checked the corners, lowered his voice. They are moving you tomorrow, out of this base, to Sector 9. She blinked, then narrowed her eyes. What is Sector 9? He didn't answer right away. His jaw clenched. It's where they take prisoners who are never seen again. Alira felt her stomach twist. So this was it. The end. She stepped back, muscles tense, claws ready. Why? Tell me. Why? Warn me. Sasa stepped closer. Because I can't let them do that to you. You're one of them, she said coldly. Not anymore, not after you. She stared at him, the silence between them now heavy, not with fear, but something deeper. She asked again. Why me? Because I see you, because I know you're more than what they say, because I care. Her Breath caught in her throat. That word care, it hit harder than any weapon. What's the plan? He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small object, sleek metal, a magnetic key. This will unlock your cuffs, only for 30 seconds. But enough to move. She took it, held it tight. You risk death for me. No, you're insane. Maybe or maybe I'd believe in something again. She laughed once, soft, almost sad, when tomorrow early shift change. I'll leave the gate open. There's a tunnel under the west wing, old and dusty, but still leads outside. About Camrys have looped the feed, but only for 5 minutes. After that, they'll see everything. Then we run together. He looked at her with something that was not quite love. Not yet, but closer than hate, closer than fear. I'm not doing this for freedom, she said. Then why? Because for the first time someone saw me and didn't flinch. That's enough reason. He gave a small nod, then handed her a cloth. Wrap the key, hide it inside your bandage. They won't check twice. She wrapped it tight, heart pounding. They stood in silence, both aware this could be the last time they spoke. If I die, she said, make it quick. You won't die. How do you know? Because I'll be there. They didn't touch, not yet, but their eyes met, and that was enough. The next morning came like a knife. Cold, sudden, sharp. 2 guards entered the cell, hands on weapons. Alira lowered her head, pretending to obey. One of them whispered, "Why isn't she cuffed tighter?" The other shrugged, orders from above. Jace's work. They pulled her forward. She limped slightly, not from pain, but timing. As they reached the hallway corner, she pressed the hidden key into the cuffs. A click, a hum, then release her arms free. Legs moving fast, she struck one guard in the throat, spun, clawed the second across the chest. Both fell without a sound. Jace was already at the tunnel door. He opened it. She ran to him, breathing heavy, blood on her arms, but eyes clear. You came, I said I would. They ran down the tunnel. Footsteps echoing like drumbeats. Lights flickered above. Dust choked the air. Behind them, sirens began to scream. Too late. No turning back. They reached the hatch. Jace kicked it open. Desert wind hit their faces, hot and wild. Freedom tasted dry, but real. She looked back once, just once, then forward toward whatever came next. Not alone, not anymore. And in her chest, a fire burned. Not of war, but of something reborn. The desert was not silent. It spoke in gusts of burning wind. It roared with the voices of alarms in the distance. It hissed under their boots as they ran across sharp, dry ground. Alira's breath was rough and fast. Her legs ached. Her skin burned under the twin suns above, but she kept moving. Jace was beside her, his uniform torn, his weapon gone, but his eyes focused only forward. Behind them, the base lit up like a dying star. Blinding flares rose into the sky. Sirens howled. Footsteps chased. Machines screamed. They ran not as enemy and prisoner, but as something new, something uncertain. Ahead was the canyon edge, old, deep, forgotten by maps and guarded only by time. That way, Jace pointed without slowing. An old cave system leads underground. We'll lose them there. She nodded. No words needed. The wind was already screaming enough for both of them. They slid down the rocky slope. Dust clouded their sight. Every movement felt louder than thunder inside the cave. It was dark and cold, a relief, but no comfort. Alira pressed her hand to the wall, felt the rock breathe with the weight of years. This place had seen things, lost things, and now it welcomed them. How long before they find us? She asked. I bought us some time, he said. Disabled one of the tracking drones, but not all. Feel, come, let them, she said. Let them see what they made. They moved deeper into the tunnels. Jace led with a small glow device. Its soft light cast shadows that danced like spirits around them. Alira walked close. Not from fear, but from something else, something rising inside her since the escape, something she could no longer name. They reached a hidden chamber wide enough to rest, low enough to hide it. Jace sank against the wall, breathing heavy, wiping sand from his eyes. Alira stood at the edge, watching the flickering light. You still think this was a good idea? She asked. He looked at her, half smile, half sorrow. Do you? She did not answer at first, then slowly sat beside him, close, but not touching. I have never trusted anyone like this, she said. I've never been trusted by someone like you, he replied. They sat in silence. Only the soft hum of wind outside the cave entrance reminded them the world still hunted them. After a while she spoke again when we ran. I thought you would slow down. I thought you would trip or freeze. You didn't. Did you? I thought you'd leave me behind. You thought wrong. She turned to face him, fully, eyes glowing, faint in the dark. Not with hate, not with rage, but with something softer. You are strange for a human. He smiled gently. You're strange for a Zarianch. Laughed a real laugh. It echoed softly through the stone walls. She leaned back, looking up at the rough ceiling. You're bleeding, she said. It's nothing. She reached out, tore a piece from her sleeve, wrapped it around his arm carefully. Her fingers brushed his skin. Neither of them moved away. He watched her hands. Not with fear, but with quiet awe. You fight like a storm, he said. But your hands, they are gentle only. With you, she said. They looked at each other. For a moment the war did not exist, only the cave, the fire in her chest, and the strange calm in his eyes. You'll have to keep running, he said. You'll be hunted every day then. Run with me. He blinked. What run? With me, Jace. Stay beside me. Not as soldier and prisoner, not as human and alien, but as something else. His throat tightened. His heart beat louder than any alarm. You want me to leave everything? Everything that tried to kill me, she said. Yes, he laughed. Once dry, almost afraid. Then he nodded. All right. They stood together, back to the wall, blades ready, breath steady. When they come, she said, we'll run again, or fight side by side, like stars in the same sky, running, not just from death, but towards something new together always. Asterisk. The sky cracked open with sound as the dropship passed overhead. Black metal against burning clouds. Its engines roared like angry gods. Wind exploded through the canyon. Loose sand rose like ghosts. Illyra crouched low behind the rock wall. Jace beside her, his breath steady, but eyes sharp. Their escape was no longer a secret. They found us, he said. She nodded. We knew they would. From the top ridge, another ship appeared. But this one flew without sound, without light. It hovered, then landed on the cliff. Zirian markings covered its surface, dark symbols, sharp lines. Ancient and proud, my people, Illyra whispered. The ship opened slowly. A ramp extended. From its belly stepped 3 figures. Their armor matched hers, but their faces were colder, harder. The lead warrior raised a weapon and shouted her name. Illyra, you are ordered to return. Now just stepped slightly forward, but Illyra stopped him with a hand. Let me speak, she said. She walked out from cover, hands raised, not in surrender, but in control. The lead warrior stared at her, his voice filled with rage. You left your post. You ran with the enemy. You betrayed your blood. He is not the enemy, Illyra said. He is the reason I'm alive. He is the reason I believe something else is possible. You believe lies, the warrior growled. You believe weakness. You believe in a species that kills children in the dark. They are not all the same, she said. I was taught to hate without knowing why. But now I see the truth in his actions. Not in your orders. Another warrior stepped forward, a female slightly younger, her voice more calm. What do you want from us, Illyra? I want a choice. I want to live beyond fear. I want peace. And I want him safe. Jace came beside her now, standing close. His presence quiet, but unshaken. The wind pressed against them, their shadows long on the stone. Lead warrior lifted his weapon. Then die with your pet. Illyra reached for her blade, but the second warrior raised a hand. Wait. She looked at Jace, then back at Illyra. Should we trust him? Because he trusted me, Illyra said. When I was weak, when I was angry, when I wanted to kill. He sat beside me, fed me, healed me, listened. The second warrior looked at Jace. Do you know what it means to walk beside? Azurani, no, it means I will never walk back. The 2 sides stood, each ready to end the other. Then the third warrior, silent until now, raised a hand device. A light blinked. A small drone lifted from his shoulder. It hovered, watched, recorded everything. Spoke only one sentence. The galaxy must see this. The drone rose into the sky, fast, free, broadcasting the scene to every satellite. Every station, every screen. A Zarian and a human standing side by side, not as enemies, not as prey and predator, but as something unknown. The lead warrior screamed in fury. You fool, they will hunt us all. Now let them, Illyra said. We are already hunted. Might as well be hunted for truth. From the distance, engines roared again. Human ships approaching fast. Heavy. Jace turned to Alira. We must move. The second warrior nodded. Take the tunnel under the North Cliff old mining route. It will take you far. The lead warrior threw his weapon down. You are not Zarian anymore then. What am I? Alira asked. She took Jace's hand, held it tight. You are between two worlds now, the second warrior said. But maybe you can build a new one. They ran together toward the tunnel, steps sure, hearts uncertain. But their direction clear behind them. The drone flew higher, its signal reaching planets and stations and broken colonies. People watched in silence, some in anger, some in fear, but many in hope. A message spreading without permission, without filter. An image, two figures, one blue, one brown, hands joined, running, not from each other, but with each other. And somewhere deep in space, where war had lived too long, something began to change. The stars did not blink. They watched in silence as the galaxy shifted, far above the war lines, beyond the noise of generals and weapons and orders. A signal floated through space. One drone, one recording, one truth. A human and a Zarian together, alive. Unafraid. Some screens shut off the moment the feed started. Some leaders barked commands to trace and erase it. But the message had already reached too many eyes, too many hearts. In refugee ships, in broken stations, in ruins of cities, no one would rebuild. People watched. They saw Alira, silver blue skin, sharp eyes, standing in front of a human soldier, protecting him not with chains but with choice. And they saw him, Jace, standing beside her, without armor, without fear, without orders. The image said what words could not. Alira and Jace were deep in the mining tunnels now, dark and endless echoes of their footsteps trailing behind like ghosts, moved without speaking. No more need for questions. They had already chosen. At a broken comms panel, Jace stopped. He opened a case. Inside was a beacon transmitter, small, old, but powerful. This is it. She looked at the device, then at him. Are you sure we can hide forever, or we can speak? Then she said he connected wires, rewired a power cell, then stepped back as it activated. The small screen blinked, then glowed. A camera lens opened. He looked at Alira. She gave a single nod, just stood in front of the lens. His voice was low but strong. If you are watching this, you have seen the footage. You have seen us. I am not here to change your mind. I am here to show you mine. This is Alira. She was once my enemy. Now she is my truth. She stepped beside him, her voice sharp but clear. I was born for war, taught to kill, taught to hate. But then I met someone who did not match the stories. He was kind. He saved me without asking for anything. They looked at each other for one breath, then turned back to the camera. If you want war, keep fighting. But if you want something more, something better, then listen. We are not the same, but we are not meant to be. Difference is not danger, it is strength. Alira ended the message with the Zarian symbol for peace. A hand raised, palm out, fingers curved like a flame. Jace ended with a human salute. Fist to heart. The screen blinked, then began to transmit. The signal reached old satellites, broken networks, blacklisted channels. The stars carried it forward on some worlds. People wept on others. They picked up weapons. But somewhere, quietly, people began to speak, not shout, not accuse, just speak. The idea had escaped, and ideas cannot be chained in the tunnel. Alira sat beside Jace, their backs to stone, their future unknown. Do you think they will come for us? She asked. He said, will you run? No. She leaned her head on his shoulder. For once there was no blade in her hand, no weight of war on her back, just warmth, just breath. Just looked up at the rocky ceiling, but saw stars. I wonder how long it will take, he whispered. As long as it needs, she said. They sat in silence as the beacon blinked beside them. Each flash a promise, each pulse a risk. Outside the tunnel, ships moved in orbit. Scanners searched, voices debated. But none could erase what had been seen. The message lived now, not just in the machines, but in the minds of those who had seen it. A girl and a boy, a warrior and a soldier, an alien and a human, two enemies who chose something else. When the scouts finally found the cave, it was empty. Only the beacon remained, still blinking. still telling the story. And across the stars, from one world to another, the words echoed. She expected the human to kill her, but he gave her something else. He gave her a reason to hope.